a black kid dribbling a basketball in his own driveway, dreaming of NBA glory, until a nosy neighbor calls the cops, labeling him a threat. But when his mom rolls up, badge shining as the police chief, jaws drop and hearts race. Face screaming in fear what happens next will leave you speechless, inspired, and questioning everything about justice and community. Can one kid's game spark a revolution? Keep reading to find out. Trust us, you won't stop until the end. In the quiet suburb of Willow Creek, where manicured lawns stretched like green carpets under the summer sun, young Jamal Thompson was just trying to enjoy a simple afternoon. At 12 years old, Jamal was the epitome of childhood curiosity and energy. His skin, a rich shade of mahogany, glowed under the sunlight as he dribbled a worn basketball in the driveway of his family's modest home. The rhythmic thump-thump of the ball against the concrete was the soundtrack to his dreams of one day playing in the NBA, just like his idol, LeBron James. Jamal's mom, Chief Elena Thompson, was away at work, as she often was, leading the local police department with a firm but fair hand. Little did Jamal know, this ordinary day was about to spiral into a nightmare that would test the bonds of community, race, and justice. Across the street lived Mrs. Karen Whitaker, a middle-aged white woman whose idea of neighborhood perfection involved pristine flower beds and absolute silence. Mrs. Whitaker had moved to Willow Creek 5 years ago after her divorce, seeking solace in what she called a nice, safe place. But her sense of safety was fragile, built on stereotypes and unfounded fears. She peered out from behind her lace curtains whenever she heard the slightest noise, her phone always at the ready to call the authorities. Today, Jamal's basketball game was the trigger. The ball bounced a little too loudly, echoing off the houses like an unwelcome intruder. Those kids and their noise, she muttered to herself, her lips pursing in disapproval. Jamal wasn't the first black child in the neighborhood, but he was the most visible, with his bright sneakers and infectious laughter. As Jamal shot a perfect swish into the hoop, celebrating with a fist pump, Mrs. Whitaker's patience snapped. She dialed 911, her voice trembling with feigned urgency. "There's a suspicious black boy on my street, loitering and causing a disturbance. He might be up to no good. Please send someone quickly." The dispatcher, trained to take all calls seriously, assured her officers were en route. Jamal, oblivious, continued his game, humming a tune from his favorite rap song. Minutes later, the wail of sirens pierced the air, and 2 patrol cars pulled up with lights flashing. Jamal froze, the ball slipping from his hands and rolling into the gutter. His heart pounded as officers stepped out, their hands hovering near their belts. "Officer, what's going on?" Jamal asked, his voice small but steady, eyes wide with confusion. The lead officer, a burly man named Rodriguez, approached cautiously. "Son, we got a call about a disturbance. You live here?" Jamal nodded vigorously, pointing to his house. "Yes, sir. This is my driveway. I was just playing basketball." The other officer scanned the area, notepad in hand, while Mrs. Whitaker emerged from her home, arms crossed triumphantly. "See? I told you he was suspicious. Look at him, just standing there like he owns the place." Jamal felt a lump in his throat, the weight of her words pressing down like an invisible force. "Why me?" He wondered silently. What had he done wrong? The officers questioned Jamal gently, but the tension was palpable. Neighbors began to peek from windows, whispers spreading like wildfire. Jamal's mind raced. Should he call his mom? But she was busy, and he didn't want to worry her. Instead, he stood there, polite and composed, explaining his routine. Mrs. Whitaker interjected, her voice rising. "He's probably part of a gang or something. You can't be too careful these days." The officers exchanged glances. They knew Chief Thompson's son when they saw him, but protocol demanded they investigate. As the interrogation dragged on, Jamal's eyes welled up, not from fear, but from the sheer unfairness of it all. How could a game of basketball lead to this? Just then, a sleek black SUV pulled into the driveway, tires crunching on the gravel. Out stepped Chief Elena Thompson, her uniform crisp and authoritative, badge gleaming in the sun. She had been alerted by the dispatcher. Her team always looped her in on local calls involving kids. Her face, usually stern in the line of duty, softened with concern as she saw her son surrounded by blue. "Jamal? What's happening here?" she asked, her voice calm but commanding. The officers straightened immediately, saluting. "Chief, responding to a call." Mrs. Whitaker's smug expression faltered slightly, but she held her ground. "Good, officer." This boy was causing trouble. Elena knelt down to Jamal's level, hugging him tightly. "It's okay, baby. Mommy's here." Then, turning to the officers, she requested a full report. As details emerged, her expression hardened. Jamal, wiping his eyes, looked up at his mom and whispered, "Mom, why did she call the cops on me? I wasn't doing anything wrong." Elena's heart broke, but she kept her composure. What kind of world are we living in, where a child's joy is seen as a threat? She pondered, the question hanging in the air like a storm cloud, begging for an answer that might never come. The scene in Willow Creek's driveway thickened like a plot from a dramatic thriller, emotions swirling in a cocktail of confusion, anger, and unexpected twists. Chief Elena Thompson, with her son's hand firmly in hers, turned her gaze toward Mrs. Whitaker, who now shifted uncomfortably under the weight of scrutiny. The officers, loyal to their chief, began piecing together the complaint, their radios crackling with updates from dispatch. Jamal, still clutching the basketball like a security blanket, felt a mix of relief and embarrassment. His mom was here, but the eyes of the neighborhood were on him, turning his private moment into public spectacle. Laughter from earlier had evaporated, replaced by a knot of anxiety in his stomach. Elena, ever the professional, addressed the officers first. "Let's get the facts straight. Jamal, tell me exactly what happened." Her voice was soothing, an anchor in the chaos. Jamal recounted his afternoon. Homework done, snack eaten, then basketball to unwind. No mischief, no strangers, just a kid being a kid. The officers nodded, one of them chuckling softly. "Chief, the kid's telling the truth. We've seen him around. He's one of the good ones." Mrs. Whitaker bristled at the casual dismissal. "Excuse me? I pay taxes too, you know. I have a right to feel safe." Her words dripped with entitlement, igniting a spark in Elena's eyes. As the conversation escalated, more neighbors emerged, forming a semicircle of curious onlookers. Old Mr. Jenkins from next door shook his head in disapproval. "Karen, you went too far this time." A young couple with a toddler whispered to each other, the wife saying, "This is why we need to talk about race in this town." Jamal overheard snippets, his young mind absorbing the undercurrents of prejudice. He tugged at his mom's sleeve. "Can we go inside now?" But Elena held firm. This needed resolution. She radioed for backup, not for force, but for witnesses. Soon, her deputy, a sharp-witted woman named Sarah, arrived, notepad ready. Mrs. Whitaker, sensing the tide turning, doubled down. He was bouncing that ball so loudly, it sounded like vandalism. And with all the crime these days, her voice trailed off as Elena raised an eyebrow. "Crime? Ma'am, my son is 12. He's playing in his own driveway." The officers suppressed smiles. They knew the chief's no-nonsense style. Jamal, feeling bolder with his mom by his side, piped up. "I said sorry when the ball hit the fence once, but it didn't even dent it." The crowd murmured in agreement, a few chuckles breaking the tension. Entertaining as the exchange was, beneath it lay raw emotion, Jamal's innocence clashing with adult biases. Elena decided to de-escalate with empathy, a tactic she'd honed over years on the force. "Mrs. Whitaker, I understand concerns about noise, but calling the police on a child without evidence? That's not just unnecessary, it's harmful." Karen's face flushed, her defenses crumbling. I didn't know he was your son." The admission hung heavy, revealing the root. Racial profiling masked as vigilance. Jamal's eyes widened. Was that really why? The officers wrapped up their report, assuring Elena no charges, just a logged incident. As they departed, Sarah pulled Elena aside. "Chief, this could be a teaching moment for the department." The neighborhood buzzed as people dispersed, but the emotional undercurrent lingered. Jamal hugged his mom tightly, tears finally spilling. I was scared, Mom. What if they took me away? Elena's heart shattered. As a single mother and police chief, balancing protection and duty was her daily battle. She wiped his tears, promising ice cream and a talk later. Mrs. Whitaker retreated inside, slamming her door, but not before catching glares from onlookers. The entertaining drama had entertained the street, but for Jamal, it was a lesson in resilience. As the sun dipped lower, Elena wondered how to turn this into community healing, her mind racing with plans for a block meeting. Little did she know, the real revelations were just beginning. Twilight cast long shadows over Willow Creek as Chief Elena Thompson led Jamal inside their home, the door clicking shut like the end of a chapter. But the story was far from over. Inside, the cozy living room with family photos lining the walls offered temporary solace. Jamal slumped on the couch, basketball forgotten, while Elena brewed chamomile tea to calm nerves. "Talk to me, champ," she said, sitting beside him. Jamal poured out his feelings, the fear, the confusion, the sting of being seen as suspicious. Elena listened, her own emotions bubbling, pride in her son's strength, fury at the injustice. This wasn't just personal, it was systemic, a mirror to the challenges she faced daily as the town's first black female police chief. Meanwhile, outside, Mrs. Whitaker paced her kitchen, replaying the scene. Regret crept in, mixed with defensiveness. "I was just protecting the neighborhood," she told her cat, but doubt not. A knock at her door startled her, Deputy Sarah, with a community liaison officer. "Mrs. Whitaker, the chief would like to speak with you." Voluntarily, of course. Karen hesitated, then followed, her curiosity piqued. Back at the Thompsons, Elena welcomed her calmly, offering a seat. Jamal peeked from a hallway, wary but intrigued. "Thank you for coming," Elena began. "This isn't about blame, it's about understanding." The conversation unfolded like a heartfelt drama, emotions raw and entertaining in their authenticity. Karen stammered apologies, admitting her fears stemmed from news stories and past experiences. "I overreacted. I didn't realize." Elena nodded, sharing her own story. Rising through the ranks in a male-dominated field, facing skepticism because of her race and gender. Jamal experiences a fraction of that daily. Imagine if every bounce of a ball brought sirens. Jamal, emboldened, joined them. "Why did you think I was bad, ma'am?" His innocent question pierced Karen's heart, tears welling. The room filled with sniffles and sighs, a cathartic release. As revelations poured out, Elena revealed neighborhood stats she'd pulled. Low crime rates, diverse families thriving. Karen listened, stunned. "I guess I let fear win." The entertaining twist came when Jamal demonstrated his basketball skills in the living room, carefully, earning a reluctant laugh from Karen. "You're pretty good, kid." Bonding over snacks, the tension eased, but emotions ran deep. Elena hugged Karen unexpectedly, whispering, "We're all neighbors." Jamal beamed, feeling vindicated. Outside, word spread via group chats, turning the incident into local lore. But as night fell, Elena reflected on the fragility of trust, knowing one call could shatter lives. Dawn broke over Willow Creek with a sense of tentative peace, but Mrs. Karen Whitaker's world had shifted irrevocably. Tossing in bed, replays of the previous evening haunted her. Jamal's innocent eyes, Elena's poised authority, the neighbors' judgmental stares. What had started as a simple complaint had morphed into a personal reckoning, forcing Karen to confront biases she'd long ignored. Emotional turmoil churned. Shame for her actions, fear of social backlash, and a budding empathy she hadn't anticipated. Entertaining as the drama was for gossip circles, for Karen, it was a soul-searching journey. She decided to make amends, starting with a handwritten note to the Thompsons. "Dear Chief Thompson and Jamal, I'm deeply sorry." Delivering it personally, she knocked nervously. Elena answered, inviting her in for coffee. Jamal, off school for a mental health day, joined shyly. Over pastries, Karen opened up about her life. Lonely post-divorce, influenced by alarmist media. "I saw threats everywhere, especially, well, Elena listened without judgment, sharing stories of similar incidents. Prejudice hurts everyone, but growth starts with acknowledgement. Jamal, surprisingly forgiving, said, "It's okay, Mrs. W. Just don't call cops on basketball next time." Laughter lightened the mood, an entertaining pivot to healing. Word of the meeting leaked, drawing media interest. A local reporter sniffed a story. Interviews followed, Elena emphasizing community over conflict. Karen, surprisingly, agreed to speak, her voice trembling on camera. "I was wrong, and I'm learning." The emotional depth resonated, turning the tale viral locally. Jamal, thriving on attention, organized a neighborhood basketball game, inviting all. Karen showed up, cheering awkwardly, her presence a symbol of change. As hoops flew, bonds formed, entertaining antics like missed shots and trash talk masking deeper emotions. Yet, Karen's internal struggle persisted. Whispers of doubt, fears of hypocrisy. Elena mentored her, recommending books on racial dynamics. Nights brought tears, but mornings hope. As weeks passed, Willow Creek pulsed with the aftershocks of the incident, emotions ebbing and flowing like tides. Jamal returned to school, but the event lingered, making him more cautious yet resilient. Bullies teased, but friends rallied, turning him into a mini-celebrity. "You're like a hero now," one said. Emotional highs and lows defined his days, pride in his mom's strength, lingering hurt from the profiling. Elena, juggling department duties, faced internal pushback. Some officers questioned her soft approach. "Chief, we can't let personal stuff cloud judgment," one grumbled. But she stood firm, implementing sensitivity training, her passion entertaining in board meetings with real talk anecdotes. Karen dove into self-improvement, joining a diversity group, her transformation entertainingly awkward, stumbling over terms, earning laughs. Emotional breakthroughs came in therapy, confronting childhood prejudices. Neighborhood events boomed. Barbecues were Jamal's dunks wowed crowds, Karen's awkward dances lightening moods. Yet, deeper pains surfaced, Jamal's nightmares, Elena's exhaustion. A heartfelt family dinner solidified their bond, tears and hugs flowing. "We're stronger together," Elena said. The community's emotional journey, laced with entertaining mishaps like Karen's failed hoop attempt, wove a tapestry of forgiveness. Months later, Willow Creek stood transformed, the incident a catalyst for unity. Jamal led youth programs, his confidence soaring, emotional growth evident in leadership. Elena's department thrived, training sessions entertaining with role plays mirroring the event. Karen, now an advocate, hosted block parties, her redemption arc inspiring. Emotional closures came in a town hall, stories shared amid laughter and tears. Jamal's question from that fateful day, "Why me?" echoed resolved. The neighborhood, once divided, pulsed with harmony, entertaining festivals marking progress. Elena reflected, justice wasn't just law, it was heart. You won't believe what happens next in this heart-pounding tale of prejudice turned to power. Could one kid's basketball game change an entire town forever? Share your thoughts. What would you do if you were the mom? Like, comment, and subscribe for more viral stories that hit right in the feels.